We know there are a few drawbacks to the role of the physician associate. Main thing being we are not regulated, and because of that we cannot prescribe, cannot order ionizing radiation. But one thing that I think is also very important is the lack of vertical progression. But before I go on to that, let me rant. I was about to record this video as usual. I normally record with this camera, the Canon EOS M, with the 18 to 55mm lens. I put on the camera, set it up. I have this green flashing light that keeps going off and the camera is not turning on. If I told you I was happy in this moment, I'll be lying. I'm pissed. Without any doubt in my mind, I know physician associates will prescribe one day. It's just a matter of when. When the regulation comes and the necessary legislation adjustments are made, will we become dependent prescribers first and then independent prescribers? Limited formulary first and then be given the whole thing? I don't know. But one thing is for sure, physician associates will prescribe one day. When it comes down to ionizing radiation, you have ACPs, AMPs that I suppose can also order these ionizing radiation. So it's a matter of the time. The main key here is regulation. I think there should be some form of progression within the physician associate profession. A newly qualified physician associate like myself, I'm in no shape or form equal to physician associate who has been practicing for the past 4 years. That is a whole different beast. The same way if one were to go to a hospital, this is a junior doctor, it's an FY1, and this is also a junior doctor, but it's a registrar. Yes, they are both doctors, but the experience and the knowledge underpinning those two positions are quite different. I wish there was something to reflect the growing knowledge and expertise of physician associates as they progress with time. The reason why progress is important is nobody wants to be stagnant in life. I don't remember the paper, but I remember this article looking at how medical consultants felt about physician associates. The consultant responded that her main concern was with regards to the little ones, the newly qualified physician associates, that 10 years down the line they'll be doing the same thing. Soul tormenting. Yeah, I know we talk about lateral mobility. Lateral mobility is one thing, vertical progression is one thing. With vertical progression, you can make the case for increased salary. If an employer only sees you as a PA and sees no difference between yourself and a newly qualified PA, you don't really have any legs to stand on. I know some people have done it, but a standardized form of progression, I think, could definitely help this case. I got the idea to make this video because I was reading an article where a physician associate who had been practicing for 10 years felt they had hit the ceiling in terms of their scope of practice and wanted to leave the profession. They were considering going into administration, medical sales, pharmacy, if I'm not mistaken, or perhaps going back to medical school to allow them that vertical progression. The difference between this particular physician associate and us is that in the US, if I'm not mistaken, they have chief physician associates, and these are physician associates who have between 5 to 10 years of experience. They have other responsibilities, be it educational, operational, in addition to their clinical activity. In the UK, though there is no standardized framework to say this is a senior physician associate, there are some trusts where they have senior PAs, chief PAs, both in primary care and in secondary care, which in essence shows people desire the ability to progress. However, if we don't have any recognized framework based on which we give a physician associate this title as a senior PA, it waters down the meaning of the title. The authority is not really tangible because it's based on nothing. One trust will say, my PA has been working for 3 years, therefore we call him or her a senior PA. Another trust will say, oh, he has been working for 10 years, so there's a senior PA. It's loose. Okay. The beautiful thing is, from my understanding, there are works in the background to kind of address this issue. Of course, regulation will help, and there seem to be talks with the BMA, the GMC, come up with a career framework, and hopefully this can shed some light as to how a vertical progression will materialize within the physician associate profession. Because the physician associates came from the military with Dr. Eugene Stead, we could go along those military lines. Newly qualified physician associate will be called a private. That would be equivalent to an FY1. Then you can maybe go to sergeant. That is 2 years. Sergeant steady, bro. That means you are going now. Listen, I don't know the ranks in the military. Private, sergeant, major, lieutenant, colonel, major general. I think that would be nice. Or to make matters worse, we could go ninja ranks. Top down. Instead of a senior PA, you call them HOKAGE. Damn good PA. You've been practicing for like 10 years. You have the experience to back it up. I'm just joking. But you get my point. There must be some form of progress. And an interesting thing about the paper I was reading is that you know how doctors, as they progress within their career, every year they go ahead, granted they pass certain exams. I don't know if something like that will be necessary for physician associates. From the paper I read, it seemed potential progression would not be automatically. They might put in place certain prerequisites one must meet if this becomes reality. This could also be a double-edged sword, as in though some people in certain specialties as PAs would like to take certain exams to show interest to go ahead, the fear is this then might become the status quo. Without you sitting these exams, you cannot progress as a physician associate. Could put us in the same situation as our brothers from another mother, taking pointless exams because if you don't have it on your CV or your portfolio, you cannot progress. Some checks and balances need to be made. I've waffled enough. It's your boy OT, and I'm out. Salute.